Created with free version for non-commercial use.
Send a text, call a friend, tell them that you're tuned in to Living Single, Chantel Monet. Send a text, call a friend, tell them that you're tuned in to Living Single, Chantel Monet. Send a text, call a friend, tell them that you're tuned in to Living Single, Chantel Monet. Send a text, call a friend, tell them that you're tuned in to Living Single.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Chantel Monet, and we're here for another episode of Living Single. And guess what, guys? We have a special guest in the studio.
Yes.
Hi, Leah. Welcome to our show. So tell everyone a little bit about you, a little bit about your background, just who you are, and then tell us something fun about you.
Well, first of all, I'm a child of God. Amen to that, okay?
Come on, amen.
And I am a 21-year-old executive assistant of Harper's Choice Community Association. And I'm just out here living life, fun, enjoying myself. And I'm also a student as well at Bowie State. Shout out to Bowie State. And I met Chantel at school, so that's one cool thing about me.
Okay. So we're just going to dive right into our show tonight. And tonight we're going to be talking about the details of life. So, Leah, when you hear details of life, what does that mean to you?
Details of life is actually something very deep. I'd like to say that it's hard maneuvering through life, and it's hard to try and figure things out when you don't have everything put together yourself. So I think living out the details of life is what you're manifested for, what God has put you on this earth for. And no one man knows the details of life. I will say it's all in his hands, and it's up to us to leave it in his hands and help him guide us through. And that's probably what I'd say about details of life.
And so I would agree with that. And I think even going a little further than that, I think that we don't always pay attention to the details of life.
Right.
And I think that the details of life are the things that make up, it's the small details that make up the big vision. And so, we're getting into the seasons, the year's coming to an end soon. Right. Yes. We're about to start going to a new year, and you're gonna have all the vision board parties, right, and you're gonna be writing your goals for the year and everything. And I think that when we do that, we don't always consider the smaller details.
Right.
I think that we only, we of course write our goals, our long-term goals. So right, we even write our short-term goals, but we don't consider all of the small parts that will help us get to accomplish the goal.
Right.
And how do you feel about that?
I honestly think that if we take time to figure out what we're going to do first, what's the task at hand, a lot of people don't often figure those things out first before trying to get into the long-term goal, that 10-year plan, that 5-year plan. So it's up to us, I believe, to make sure that we solidify what we're doing right here, right now, in this moment, and thinking about the things that we have to do for the next day or so, the next week or so. What are the things that we need to align ourselves with in order to be able to make that detailed plan and be able to navigate through life? And then we can go from there, maybe start our 2-year goal, mm-hmm, and then go into that 5-year and then that 10-year. So if we can start with what we're doing right now, try to figure those things out, and then later on figure out what we're going to do down the line.
So when you hear details of life, and I know I already asked you, what does it make you think of, right, what does it mean to you? But when you hear that statement, what are some things that you would consider the details of life?
First, I'd say that up upbringing that you have would be the first thing. It's all a part of who you are, and trying to figure out who you are as a person, your personality, your goals for yourself. What do you want to do? Try to figure out what you want to do first before you can figure out everything else around you. No one person knows what is going on in your mind. So in order to be detailed about what you want to do, you have to figure out, you have to figure out how you're going to navigate through being that one person. So if you have that detail or that goal, like I was just saying, that first step you're trying to take towards maintaining that goal, you'll be able to, maybe jot things down, maybe try to figure those things out within your head, within your phone, take some time out on your notes, figure those things out throughout the day, use your calendar. If you're, organized, I think that's another detail you have to have. Like I said, upbringing, being organized, having that support system around you is very, very influential around, bringing those special people into your lives. And those are some of the key things that I try to do when I'm trying to maintain a plan for my life.
So I think, some of the things that I thought of when we talk about the details of life are things like our attitude, our mindset, our organization, like you said,
right.
time management, the things that we kind of just take for granted that we, may do well in, or that most times we don't always succeed in those areas.
Right.
And so it made me think of the question that what is one thing, and that's what I want to ask everyone that's listening and that's watching on Facebook Live, what's one thing that you believe is holding you back from being successful?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say first, trying to figure out what's best for me. Like I think that's the main thing that's holding me back, because I don't want to be cliche and say myself, because at the end of the day, we all have our problems. But I think once you try to figure out how, like, first figuring out a plan, and then if you don't have all the tools to succeed with that plan, you're trying to figure out who you are, and then trying to figure out everybody else around you and what they think that they should be figuring you out. Yeah. So if you want to try to figure out other people, you have to figure out yourself first. And then I think me personally, that also holds me back, as you mentioned, is attitudes. So a lot of people don't check those things at the door before you start, try to maneuver through things.
Exactly.
Without checking yourself, without checking your attitude, your mental health is a big thing. That's another thing for me. If you can't figure those things out, you can't figure out anything else. So once you try to figure out what's going on with you, mental health wise, that's a big thing we also need to get into. Then you should be able to make a definite plan for your goals.
Yeah. For me, I didn't I think it would have to be time management. Like
procrastination.
Yes.
That's for me too.
Or just poor, I guess negative thinking would be. But it's kind of hard to say, because it's not that, you think like, oh, you can't do it, but just the challenges that occur, or like that, just come out of nowhere, that have you thinking like, okay, is this worth it? Like, should I keep doing this, or is it like, maybe maybe these trials are coming because it's just not meant for me to do it. But do we ever like really, consider that maybe they're coming because it's lessons in those trials that will help us to be better at whatever we're trying to do?
Right.
So I think it's like, those like details that aren't, always paid attention to, or that we don't see them from a different perspective other than just being in the moment. Like, we always look at it of how it's impacting us, but never how it may be helping us.
I can agree. For one that you were saying earlier, if you realize most people tend to step back and think about, oh, what's the next thing that I have to do? And I know that's, for me, is like a big thing. What's next? What do I have to do next? I'm not sitting in the moment and thinking about what I have to do for that moment right then and there. I'm always on that next step. And I think that's what kills me as a person too, because I'm always trying to figure out, like, oh, what's next? I have to figure this out next. I have to,
Right.
but what am I doing? Like, I have to stop. I have to, calm all those thoughts that I have in my head down and be able to say, okay, I got this. Let's move forward. Don't get anxiety over this. What's going to help you in the long run is going to be, first, like I said, jotting those things down, figuring those things out for you, and knowing that everything is going to be okay. I think that's a lot of people, especially with mental health. We have to remind ourselves that everything is just going to be okay. Take one step at a time. Don't continue to go running around yourself trying to, figure things out all on your own, because there are people out here that are able to help you, and don't think that you're by yourself. So once you're able to do that, I think you've mastered it.
Yeah, and I think also it's key what you said. I guess both of us said is that being in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're always present. We always attempt to be present in the future instead of being present in the moment.
Right.
And so by being present in the future, I mean like we see. And I'm not telling you to like lose the vision or the dreams that you have or like the goals that you're going after,
Right.
but be present in the situations that are occurring now, because they're not always bad. You have good days, you have great moments, great things that occur, but you don't want to miss out on those celebrations, and you don't want to miss out on those lessons because you're so focused on the bigger picture.
Right.
Because every part of the journey is important to the bigger picture.
Right.
And so you can't just, like throw it all away in the pursuit of the bigger picture, because when you get there, you won't be satisfied.
Right.
Like, I think that, we have a false sense of like success sometimes because we think that if we haven't reached the goal, then, we've failed. But I think that the most success happens in the journey, not once you get there. Once you get there, you're just basically receiving the reward. But the real lessons, the real, celebrations occur during the journey.
I can attest to that. So if you, for example, I don't know, shout out to all the dancers out there, but most people will sit there and they'll say, don't focus on, if you mess up, keep going. Don't stop what you're doing. Keep going, because at the end of the day, people are only looking for the outstanding, overall celebration at the end. People are recording you, so don't focus on what everybody is saying about you. Don't focus on the naysayers. I've also loved this quote. Shout out to Kelson on 92Q. He says, haters are your biggest motivators. So if you are listening to what everybody has to say, just take that, keep it moving, and take it as constructive criticism. A lot of people don't like to pay attention to those details that people are pouring into you. If you don't pay attention to that constructive criticism, take that and apply that, and then move forward with your life, and you're able to, move forward with your blessing or your lesson. Then you're able to grasp onto what people are saying, and then take that in the moment that you're, for the moment being, and then move forward with that. You'll get the biggest result of your life, I think.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think that, excuse me, I think that as far as the details go, like, I think of it also as, like, as far as its importance, as how when you see a painting or something, some work of art, that the more detailed it is, the more intrigued you are by it. The more basic it is, the less it catches your eye.
Right.
And
Like,
so I
okay.
think that, and so I think that if we put that into perspective and, into play with our details of life, that it's the same way. The more that you pay attention to the details, the more you'll feel fulfilled and satisfied, because you will have not perfected, but you'll kind of have understood the things that yourself better, the things that will help advance your business, your goals, or whatever it is. But the less you pay attention to those details, the more I will say robotic your life will be, because you're working on like an autopilot almost, instead of just finding your niche and like honing in on that and being able to like enhance it and learn it to its fullest. But yeah, like,
Right. I definitely say, like, basically own yourself. So if you are putting out there that you're this type of person and you don't want negative energy, all of that plays a role in who you are. So if you're out here owning up to what you do, loving what you do, liking what you do, not worrying about what everybody has to say about you, you'll definitely figure out, your, like you said, your niche, and you'll be able to stand with it, stand on it, and stand firm in it. So if you found what what God has called you to be, then I would own it, and you'll be able to manifest things, here on out.
Yeah, and I just think that when you're going forward with your details of life, I think that it's important to identify what those details are for you, because they're different for everyone. And they don't always manifest in the same ways.
Right.
Like, what my details that I need to focus on are different from yours, but that doesn't make you any better or me any less.
Right.
But I think if we all focus on our own personal details and not the details of other people's lives, I think it'll help us as well, because it will cause us to be our individual, like you said, and own ourselves, instead of trying to be just like what we see.
Right.
Because that's not for us. That's not maybe our niche, or that's not really where or the route that we should take. But
right. It's not God's calling. Don't follow
it. When you follow the details, like, when you hone in on them, and when you really identify what they are and how they're impacting you and your goals, I think that you'll inadvertently be your own authentic self.
Right.
Because you have no other choice, because you've kind of perfected something to like almost an art.
Right.
Like,
Right. And I'd say definitely trust your judgment and trust your own intuition, because those things aren't leading you to do things that are wrong. Well, I will say not all the time, but just definitely trust your judgment. You know what's better for yourself than other people do. Sometimes other people can see you better than you see yourself. However, I'm a strong, firm believer of trusting your intuition and trusting your discernment as well. My mom always taught me that.
Yeah, I mean, that's important. And I think that I think it's very important to do the vision boards and to write your goals and your dreams and things down. But I think that it's also important to get detailed about it, step by step if you have to, but just so that it becomes more attainable to you, and that you don't miss out on or pity yourself, I guess, because you feel like you haven't accomplished it, when there's so many things that you've accomplished on the way to the big thing. You get what I'm saying?
Never downplay yourself. Definitely.
Yeah, like there's you could be on the way to the store, but you see another store and you go in there and you make a right turn and you see something else, but because you never made it to the store you were trying to get to, you'll just be like, oh, this day is wasted, when really you've gotten better things in better places, but you're still gonna go to the store. It's not like you wouldn't do it. And I think that sometimes we'll make the big visions and the big declarations, and then once we don't attain them at the, I guess, time that we allotted for it, then we just throw it away.
I know what you mean.
And I think, and that's not how it's supposed to be, that even if you don't get in that time frame, don't give up on it, but just see where you may have fallen off, or where, has the plans changed, have you realized that that's really not the route that you should be taking, or route that you should be going on. Have you changed as a person, and so just all of those factors, and just realizing that those little pieces really do impact the bigger vision. Getting your organization and your time management down now will help you when you're trying to be the owner and CEO of your own company in the future.
Right.
But if you just take it for granted now, then when you get there, you're gonna have to learn everything when you could have been learning along the way.
And that's a big thing in itself, time management, getting that and grasping that. A lot of people don't have that, and a lot of people procrastinate on a lot of things that they do. I mean, I'm one of those people, but grasping time management and preparing something, learning, what you can and cannot do, learning your limits. Those are the things that we have to be detailed about. Like you were saying, trying to get to our goal is no way that you can't you won't be able to get to your goal if you don't realize the small details that are at hand. And if you're able to take those and learn from those lessons, then you're able to, grasp those details of life, learning what should I do step by step. No one person is perfect. So everyone has to go through this thing called life. We have to master through it. As long as you have people along to help you out through your journey, and learning how to go forward and move forward with things when things don't actually go your way. Like you were saying, sometimes things aren't supposed to go your way. That's not how God intended it to go. So therefore, you have to listen to what he's saying, trust your judgment, never put yourself down. And then maybe, down the line, you're able to master whatever, that one thing that you're trying to get to.
Yeah, and I agree. I think that, I think that it all starts with your mindset. I think that once we change that or we improve it, that it will change everything.
Right.
Because it will change how we see it, how things begin to impact us, or, like what our views on things are and how different they are because we've changed our mindset. So we've changed our outlook on it. And it's up to you whether your mindset is negative or positive about something. But in changing your mindset or, improving your mindset, it will cause you to just see everything for what it is, not be so much like, in your feelings about it, or just like pity, like, oh, why me? But really seeing that, okay, I can learn something from this, or I can, like, use this later on. Like, just like the example about the time management in the organization, where, for example, when we're younger and we're in school, we don't, like, why do I have to do homework? Why do I have to do this or whatever? But
preparing you for college.
or even beyond, because sometimes at jobs you have deadlines, you have things that needs to be accomplished, and it's like your livelihood depends on that. So if you learn those skills now and how to be efficient and effective, then it won't be so hard to do it then.
Right.
But then if you don't pay that any attention, then when you're going, you're just like, yeah, I'll get it done when I get to it.
Don't I know it?
But, it's just like those details are just so important. Like your outlook is so important. And, we're going into a new year soon, like, and so as we start to get like in the mindset of like preparing for the new year, I just don't want us to like forget about the details of the preparation as well.
Right.
Just like if you're planning a party, you can like have the date, you can be like, it's going to be here, but what about the decorations? What about what are you going to wear? What about the jewelry? Little things like that. And so just as important as those are, so are the details of your life. Your life details are just as important. So yeah, that's that. But we have a motivational moment.
Okay. Let's go.
And so I saw this, and I think it's fitting for, kind of what we're talking about and just where we are in our lives now as we're coming near the end of the year and we're about to go into a new decade, a new year. And it just says, it's okay to be scared. Being scared means you're about to do something really, really brave. And so what does that mean to you?
Wow, right now, situations that I'm going through, I can say that means in itself, it's straight to the point. Like, don't be scared. Take that leap. Take that step. If you have to take a moment, just stop, refocus, and, figure things out for you. No matter what's going on around you, know that and trust and believe and have faith that it's going to go the right way. You have to trust and believe in God and know that you will be able to move forward through any situation, especially with him. Get that right support. Without that, you won't be as afraid, I will say, to jump out there and do what you love to do. Don't be scared. And I think it says what it means, honestly.
And so, and for me, just reading it earlier and even now, it's just that, it's not, I feel like if you're scared, that's the best time to do it. Because that means that are about to step into something new. You're about to, do something big or experience something in a way you've never experienced it. So just go ahead and do it. Like, just do it.
Like Nike.
But, really, I mean, it's okay. Like, it's okay to be scared. Like, but do it scared anyway.
Right.
Like, if you're going to be scared, you might as well just do it anyway. Like, that you just don't know what can happen from that leap, if you will. And, I think that's just fitting for us going into the new year, because we all want to, well, a lot of people want to accomplish new goals or take on new career paths or do new things in life. And so you run into the big vision, but the fear.
Right.
And so go after it. Do it. You can be scared. You can have your moments of just like, what am I about to do?
Mm-hmm.
But still do it. Be brave about it. Be courageous about it. And know that, if it's given to you, then you know that it's something that you need to accomplish, and that you have what it takes to accomplish it. You have what it takes to, reach the goal,
Right.
And so in refining those details, you'll be able to accomplish it much better. But even if you're scared, just do it.
Just do it.
It's literally, like you said, self-explanatory. But, like, I'm going to read it again, just in case somebody need to hear it
They
again.
do.
It's okay to be scared. Being scared means you're about to do something really, really brave. And so, listen, I just think that, if I'd rather do it scared than not do it all and and have regrets.
Mm-hmm. No regrets over here.
So, do it scared, guys. Take that leap, take that jump, be brave.
Be a trendsetter.
Right. Go after what it is that you feel is what you need to do. Like,
Right.
period.
Period, poo.
But also, because we're in the month of November, and we're getting prepared for the holidays.
Yes.
Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever holidays you celebrate. But the last thing, and it's a challenge for everyone, but me and Leah are going to start it now on the show, is what is one thing you're thankful for?
Okay, so I don't want to sound cliche, but I will say my family, and most of all my mom. I have to shout her out because that's my best friend. I love her dearly, and I don't know where I would be without her. She's such a strong, determined woman, and I actually model my life after her, and I take everything that she tells me very seriously. She's guided me thus far and gotten me here, the place that I need to be, as well with the support of my grandparents, family members. So those people mean the most to me. They're the driving force behind what I do every day, and I just thank them so much for being in my life, and I'm thankful that God placed them in my life, because I don't know where I would be without them, and that's really the only thing. Oh, and other people, but that's the main thing.
Today I'm thankful for life. I'm thankful for the ability to have woken up today and experienced today, and whatever the rest of the day has to offer. But so many people that I know didn't have the opportunity to wake up again today.
Right.
And so I'm grateful for the opportunity to just have life.
Right.
And so, tell us a few things that you're thankful for. Feel free to comment them. And then for the next 30 days, every day, whether you text a friend or you post it on your social media, but just share one thing that you're thankful for every day. And so that's our show for today, and we can't wait to see you back next month. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
Created with free version for non-commercial use.
Send a text, call a friend, tell them that you're tuned in to Living Single, from Chantel Monet. Send a text, call a friend, tell them that you're tuned in to Living Single, from Chantel Monet. Send a text, call a friend, tell them that you're tuned in to Living Single, from Chantel Monet.